and really go into my testimony, what God has taken me through, and it's been so much. I've been racking my brain for weeks. Okay, I've tried doing different videos. It's way too much to try to put on one video. So I decided to make an intro video, and then I'll go into making different videos on all the things the Lord's done to me. Um, Really quick overview of everything that'll be covered and hit upon that I can remember anyway is I was raised in a church, Assembly of God church. If there was church on a Tuesday, we were there, but we were there Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, um, always at church. I was raised in a church, all different churches, all different revivals, all different speakers. Always, always, always at church. Always on church on Saturday, cleaning, cutting the yard, everything. We were there. So I was raised in the church. I was saved when I was 7 years old. My upbringing was a little bit different than most. Like I said, this is real quick, so you're going to have to watch the rest of the videos to get the whole testimony, because it would take way too much time to try to put on one video and upload it. At least try and do it with the equipment I've got. But I was raised a little bit different in that once I became saved, my whole life changed, obviously. But I saw angels at the age of 8. From the age of about 9 to 14, 15 years old, I had a very great relationship with God. I got a great relationship now, but I mean, for a preteen and a teenager, early teen, this was incredible because God would speak to me audibly a lot of times. But he would speak to me always. If I had a question that needed to be answered, he was there. He would say, okay, read, 1 John chapter 2, verse 20 through 23, Matthew 6, 18 and 19. And it was that distinct. Any question I had at all. I've got a Bible. It's up here on the bookcase. I've had this and underlined all different areas, where God was speaking to me. This whole Bible is underlined. And it was every time that the Lord spoke to me, I would underline in that Bible. So it's full of them. When I was the age of 14, I got to witness a spiritual battle I didn't understand. And it was basically a fight of light and sound. It was incredible, and I'll talk more about that later. But I didn't understand it because all through my life I was raised in the church, and the Lord spoke to me, and I thought everybody was like that. Everybody should be like that. Everybody can hear the Lord's voice. So I went to a pastor of our church, and Mom made an appointment, kept me out of school, went in and I told the pastor everything that happened to me up to this point in my life, and that I didn't understand this spiritual battle. At the time, I had no idea what it was. It was like a battle of lights, and it's lights that I've never seen in my life. It was incredible. It was a heavenly light show, and voices and screaming and hollering and just I didn't understand it. So I went to him. What is this? What's going on? And looking back now, I know that it was, I believe, my age of accountability. And it was God allowing Satan's demons to try to come at me and attack me, because I should know better at this point in my life. But anyway, back to the story. The pastor said, Doug, you're making this up for attention. This stuff doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen anymore. So you need to quit making this up, go home and just talk to God. And that was it. Well, I left there dejected. I had, and this is no excuse. I thought, well, this is the man I put all my trust in, all my faith in, and he doesn't believe me. I don't need the church anymore. Well, it's at that point in my life, I quickly, very quickly, fell away from the church. Later on, it was probably 20, I guess. I met him later. He was head of a college, a Christian college that I wanted to attend, and went and met with him. And I really didn't harbor any ill will towards this man. And I'd really blown this off and forgotten all about it. But he cried. He sat across from me in that big desk that he had in his office, and the man poured out his heart. He cried to me. He said, "Doug, please forgive me." And I didn't know what he was talking about, and I said, well, what's up? I don't understand. He told me, he said, I should never have told you that stuff didn't happen. He said, God has a way of working these things out. And he said, God brought to me a witch, and she wore around her neck a sachet made of human leather, human skin, and in it was bones of her baby that she sacrificed to Satan. And he said, the Lord brought her to me to be delivered from this. And he said, I saw stuff that I thought was only in the movies. He said, I saw drawers open. He said, I saw knives come out, fling across the room, stick in the wall. He said, furniture move. He said, this lasted a week working with this woman, which it shouldn't have lasted a week. It only lasted a couple of seconds. But regardless, the Lord has a way of showing these things to people. So, I fell away from God back to 14, 15 years old. I started getting into the occult, astral projection, telekinesis, all these different things that Satan will allow you to do. I got into witchcraft real heavy. I was, at the time, we'd moved to Boston. 16 years old. We were going to Salem, me and a buddy, learning all we could about witchcraft. Started practicing witchcraft. Well, I knew, being a Christian raised in the church, that witchcraft is basically another form of Satanism. People want to candy coat it. It's not. It's from Satan. So I got into Satanism. Got into astral projection really heavy. Satan was very, very quick to give me what I wanted. Anything I wanted. I had women, money, drugs, booze. I was import-exporter importer of drugs. I was a dealer, big time dealer. Dealt cocaine, dealt quaaludes, marijuana, speed, and always had money, never got busted, never got caught. I was living what I thought was the high life. As I got deeper and deeper into Satanism, I had two demons. I could look in any mirror. There were one on the left, one on the right, with me everywhere. And they took me to meet Satan one day in an astral projection. And I'll talk about that on the next video. Incredible deliverance from God. Speaking of deliverance, and like I said, I'll go into this later, I was delivered instantaneously from cocaine. I was doing up to an ounce and a half a day personal cocaine. I do so much coke I couldn't stand up. It felt like my heart was going to explode in my chest. But I was delivered in an instant from a cocaine addiction. In a second, I was healed. I was in an explosion. I lost my eyesight. I was completely, my eyesight was completely restored. Not a little bit. It was better than it was before the explosion. 7 operations on my eyes. Um, the doctors, still to this day, he's still alive, and his son still talks about it, how I shouldn't be seeing it anymore. Delivered from alcoholism in a second. Delivered from a 2-pack a day for 20 years cigarette addiction in an instant. Delivered from an opiate addiction, and we'll get more into that. I allowed doctors to get me hooked back on opiates, or hooked on opiates first time. So many different things that the God's just delivered me from, and He's so real in my life. He's so powerful in my life, and there's just so many things I can talk about. You know, a lot of times when I speak to young people or to a church, I'll use the story of the prodigal son, because that's what I was. God took me back, and God will take you back too. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you've done, it doesn't matter what you're addicted to. It does not matter one bit, because God will deliver you from it. He is faithful, He is just, He is true. So tune in. I'll make another one about. We'll start with being delivered from Satanism. That was still one of my most powerful ones. So we'll talk about that next time. So thanks for listening, and God bless you.